Hazardous waste is removed from waste destined for recycling, incineration, or the landfill site. The prerequisite is that the Danish waste management model is devoid of problems and it's economical. The hazardous waste is sorted at source, collected separately, and treated in a closed system. Waste that cannot be recycled or incinerated is deposited at a landfill site or sent for final processing to the chemical plant at Kommunekemi in Nyborg on Funen. The hazardous waste, including batteries, chemical remnants and old medicine, is collected in municipal recycling stations. Some have also special mobile collection schemes in built-up areas, while other schemes cater to industry. This waste is collected according to category at 20 reception stations across the country, from where they're transported to incineration, processing, or final depositing at Kommunekemi. Each Dane supplies an average 180 kilos to Kommunekemi every year.
The Danish collection and treatment system for hazardous waste is unique. It's studied by delegations from all over the world. Kommunekemi also conducts tours for tourists. Over 6,000 people visit the plant each year.
Kommunekemi here in
Nyborg was established in 1971. The owners are the Danish municipalities, and their tasks are to handle, destroy and do away with Denmark's oil and chemical waste. We have 200 employees and have handled over 1 million tons of hazardous waste since we started nearly 25 years ago. A good 80% of the total amount of waste that we receive is regenerated into raw material. The rest is leftover products from the handling of waste materials that's deposited at dump sites. Our control and responsibility begins when waste materials received at the plant. With regards to proper treatment, we receive only oil and chemical waste, and thereafter it's followed by a written declaration with exact information about the waste. It's then controlled through samples at our own laboratory. When the waste has been investigated and controlled, it's then sent to a special part of the plant where further treatment takes place. In the plant for oil treatment, the leftover oil goes through a long cleaning process. Here, sludge with a heavy metal content and water is thrown away. Afterwards, we use the cleansed oil as fuel in waste-to-energy plants.
In the plant, inorganic waste is treated and cast aside from the galvanizing industry, and sludge from these plants goes through a cleansing machine. Waste with a heavy metal content and heavily soluble waste is removed in a filtering process. Waste containing acid and alkaline products are neutralized, and waste from these processes is also neutralized and then sent to the laboratory control. From there, it will be sent on to a cleaning plant. The heavily soluble materials are made into filter cakes and driven to our special dumping sites in Klintholm. This site was selected for its geological characteristics, which make it specially suitable for this purpose. Waste containing mercury or pharmaceuticals and certain types of waste from private households is sorted manually and sent to the appropriate disposal facilities. Many of the drums of waste that come to the plant are put into an automatic drum emptying facility, but for safety reasons they first go through an airlock which is flooded with nitrogen. The drums are then cut up in a shredder. The shredded drums and their contents of oil or chemical waste fall into one of the 3 large mixing tanks where the solid and liquid waste is mixed together until it reaches a fluid state. The waste is then pumped out over a screen to separate the liquid waste from the scrap metal from the drums. After cleaning, a magnetic separator is used to remove the steel scrap, which then goes to a recovery process. Scrap from plastic drums is incinerated.
The organic waste goes directly to the incinerators, which is our largest processing section. Waste in the drums, which has not been through the drum emptying system, is inspected and then put directly into one of our large rotor furnaces. A crane is used to put solid unpackaged waste into these furnaces, and combustible waste from the manual sorting process is also dumped in here. Nozzles spray liquid waste into the rotor furnaces along with extra fuel to aid the 1300 degrees Celsius incineration process. Water from the oil treatment plant is sprayed into the final incineration chamber. The non-combustible components of the waste form a floating slag, which after being cooled in a water bath is collected and taken to a disposal facility. Electricity and heat are produced in a closed system connected with the plant's steam boiler. This process is monitored by closed-circuit television and followed 24 hours a day from the control room. The incineration process not only supplies Kommunikemi with all the energy it needs, it also provides Nyborg with 65% of its district heating and 15% of its total electricity consumption. People in Nyborg have lived with Kommunikemi since 1971, and there's no opposition to the plant anymore. On the contrary, Kommunikemi does a great deal to provide information on itself to the public through newsletters, articles in the newspapers, and tours of the plant. Older children from the local schools take field trips to Kommunikemi as part of their curriculum. Because of all this, we know that the plant pollutes less than traditional industry and that it's inspected regularly by the environmental protection authorities. The smoke cleaning system at the plant is said to be so efficient that the steam coming out of the stack is cleaner than the air it's released into. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I do know that environmental protection and safety at the plant are tip-top.
By the year 2000, less than 10% of Denmark's waste will be deposited. Today, a quarter of total waste volumes are deposited. But under the new rules, it's no longer permitted to send combustible waste to landfill sites. It has to go to incineration so that its energy can be utilized. All Danish landfill sites are subject to firm rules. In line with this, waste has to be registered and weighed when it's driven into the landfill site. The landfill site has to be protected against seepage of hazardous substances into the groundwater table, and the area has to be landscaped so that it fits in with the surrounding environment.
The number of landfills will in the future be reduced from about 50 at the moment to 10 to 15 sanitary landfills. These sanitary landfills will be more specialized, they'll also be easier to monitor and control. It's been decided that all new sanitary landfills in Denmark shall be sited near the coast. In case of an undesirable release of contaminants, only a very limited part of the groundwater will be polluted. Research for the European Union Commission indicates that existing landfills containing large quantities of organic waste constitute an environmental threat for more than 150 to 1,000 years. The main point of the new Danish landfill strategy is therefore that each generation shall take care of its own waste handling. In the future, all waste received for landfilling must either be pre-treated or sorted prior to landfilling so that the requirements are fulfilled for not releasing any significant contaminants after 30 years. New sanitary landfills are established with separate cells for the various types of waste. Waste types of similar character are directed to the same cell, and it's then possible to determine how to handle or treat the leachate from this particular type of waste. In general, each sanitary landfill consists of 3 to 4 simultaneously operated cells for different waste types. Groundwater quality also is frequently monitored to detect whether there's been a leak in the liner system at the bottom of the disposal area. We can reduce the demand for landfills by implementing cleaner technology and increasing recycling. However, there'll always be waste types and residues which cannot be recycled. So, we have to face the fact that there will always be a demand for landfilling of waste.